This is Keisha. She's moving in with us. She's here to give me kids because you can't, Jamal said as he walked through the front door. The words landed on Tamara like a punch to the gut. Before we continue, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss stories like this. And drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. We love seeing our community from all over. She stood by the entryway, still in the casual clothes she'd picked out that morning. For a whole week, she'd been marking off days on the calendar. Jamal, her husband, had told her he was heading out of town for work. 1 week. That's what he said. Now he was home, but he wasn't by himself. Behind him, a woman wheeled 2 big suitcases into the front room. The wheels scraped loudly against the vinyl floor. She didn't ask anybody anything. She didn't wait for an invitation. Tamara's eyes drifted slowly from the suitcases to the woman. She was expecting. The woman looked around the place like she was judging everything in sight. Her eyes swept over the walls, the furniture, then landed on Tamara. "So this is her?" she said with a little snicker. "This is your so-called wife who can't have any babies?" Jamal grinned. He looked pleased with himself. "Yep," he said. "She stays at home all day doing nothing. No hustle, no plans for tomorrow." Tamara felt her chest get tight. Clear as throat still, she kept quiet. Keisha put her hand on her stomach and let out a loud sigh. "At least I'm good for something," she said. "I ain't just sitting around in a man's house for years doing nothing." The words cut deep, mean on purpose. Tamara swallowed hard. She remembered that day clear as day, the day Jamal left for his so-called week-long work trip. He had packed his duffel bag while she folded his shirts nice and neat. She had said a prayer for his safe travels. She had kissed him at the door. "You told me it was for work," Tamara said quietly. Jamal laughed. "Work trip, whatever you want to call it. The point is, I'm back with an answer to our problem." Cassia dragged her suitcases toward the bedroom. "This is my bedroom now with my man," she said, like it was nothing. "I don't like being away from my man at night." Tamara felt her knees go weak for a second, but she stayed standing. "For 7 years," Jamal went on. "I waited around. I stood up for you. I told folks to give it time." He pointed right at Tamara. "But you made me look bad." Keisha spun around quickly. "You know what people say about a man with no kids," she said. "They say he ain't really a man. They say his woman is broken." Tamara looked at her steadily. "I'm here to change that," Keisha added, really proud. Jamal nodded. "She knows what her purpose is." Tamara's hands went cold. Her heart was pounding hard, but her face didn't show it. She thought about the doctor's paperwork tucked away safely in her purse. She thought about the text messages her girl had sent a few days back. Photos, receipts, the whole truth. Her girl had spotted them. Jamal and Katya, laughing, holding hands, out in public, not even trying to hide. Tamara had called Jamal's job. His assistant put her through to his supervisor, R, who talked to her politely. "Mrs. Tamara, Jamal didn't go on any work trip last week. He actually took time off." The lies were right there in the open. Keisha plopped down on the couch like she paid the rent. "So," she said, crossing her legs, "you can take your stuff to the back room. We need our space." Jamal looked at Tamara like he was waiting for something. "You heard what she said." Tamara finally spoke up. "That's it?" she asked at softlit. Jamal frowned. "What do you mean?" Tamara looked around the place really slowly. Then she looked back at him. "Nothing," she said calmly. "Welcome home." Jamal smiled like he won something. Keisha smiled like she'd beaten somebody. Neither one of them had a clue that Tamara had already handled everything. Neither one of them knew the place they were trying to run had already been sold. Every room, every key, every square foot they thought belonged to them was already out of their hands. And neither one of them knew that Jamal's whole world, just like his lies, was about to fall apart. But right then, he felt like a man. He loosened his collar and sat down like he owned the block. Cassia leaned back against him, her body easy, confident. Tamara stood there quietly. She watched them like somebody watching a movie that didn't concern her anymore. If you're loving this story so far, smash that subscribe button and like this video. It helps us bring you more powerful stories like this one. For 7 years, this had been her reality. She remembered when they first got married. Jamal had been somebody else back then, respectful, full of hope, talking about building something. She remembered getting up before the sun to fix his plate. She remembered pressing his work clothes with care. She remembered speaking blessings over him before every job interview. When Jamal finally landed the position at one of the biggest firms downtown, Tamara had been happy like it was her own win. She had cooked all his favorites. She had called up their people. She had smiled till her face hurt. But Jamal never knew what really happened. He never knew who made that phone call behind the scenes. He never knew who talked to the right folks on the low. He never knew who made a way for him. Tamara chose to stay silent. She decided to be a housewife on purpose, not because she was weak, but because she wanted to see if love could exist without strings attached. At first, Jamal was grateful. Then, little by little, his attitude shifted. "You just stay home all day," he would say. "Anybody can cook a meal and clean up." When folks gave him props, he took all the glory. When they asked about babies, he blamed Tamara. "She got problems," he told his boys. "It's on her." Word got around. The family heard it. Friends heard it. Even people in the neighborhood heard it. Tamara took it all without saying anything. She went to the clinic by herself. She sat in that waiting area by herself. She held the test results with hands that wouldn't stop shaking. The doctor smiled at her. "You're perfectly fine," he said. "You can have children without any issues." Relief washed over her, but so did something else, worry. That night she brought up the idea of them both getting checked. Jamal's response caught her off guard. "You trying to disrespect me?" he yelled. "I ain't the problem." He stormed out and slammed the door hard. From that moment something shifted in Tamara. Back in the front room, Keisha laughed loudly. "So you really stuck it out for 7 years?" She said it like it was a joke. "That wouldn't be me." Jamal laughed right along with her. "I was patient," he said, all proud. "Way too patient." Tamara looked at him and wondered when caring about somebody turned into this kind of treatment. Kasha stood up and pointed toward the kitchen. "I don't eat my dinner late," she said. "I hope the food gonna be ready soon." Tamara nodded slowly. "Yeah," she said softly. Standing by herself in the kitchen, Tamara closed her eyes for a moment, not because she was hurting, but because everything was crystal clear now. She was done staying quiet. She was done taking the blame. She was done making herself small. In the front room, Jamal and Cassia laughed loudly. They thought they had it all figured out. They didn't know that Tamara's silence wasn't about being scared. It was about getting ready. And the truth was about to speak for itself. She took a deep breath, letting the peace settle in. Every step she took from here on out would be careful thought out. Her quiet payback was about to be served up right. After what felt like forever, she walked to the dining area. She set everything up with real attention. Plates, forks, and knives, glasses, all arranged perfectly, like nothing major was about to go down. Clear's throat. The food was covered, heat rising from under the lids. But what was sitting under those lids wasn't no regular dinner. Tamara called out from the kitchen, her voice easy and pleasant. "Jamal, Keisha, food's on the table. Y'all come sit down." Jamal sat up straight, feeling good about himself. "Finally. I hope you cooked something worth eating this time." Cassia smirked, looking at the covered dishes. "Let's see if the housewife can at least handle this," she said, nudging Jamal. Tamara pointed to the chairs. "Y'all sit down and let's say grace first." Jamal raised an eyebrow, confused, but went along with it. Keisha rolled her eyes but sat down, putting her hands flat on the table. Tamara closed her eyes and prayed out loud, clear and deliberate. "Lord, I thank you for finally showing me the real deal after all these years of being patient, staying quiet, and making moves nobody saw coming." She opened one eye and peeked at them. "Even though the truth is about to come out, I pray the guilty ones find some kind of peace, even if they don't really deserve it." Jamal blinked. Keisha's face twisted. Both of them looked at each other, uncomfortable. Something wasn't right. Tamara smiled just a little. With a smooth motion, she pulled off the covers. Steam rose, but instead of food, there were papers laid out neatly on plates and in the serving bowls. Jamal went stiff. Keisha's eyes got big. Wait till you see what happens next. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with someone who needs to see this story. On one plate were divorce papers. On the other hand, hospital records showed Tamara was healthy and could have kids with no problems. A third one had documents proving the house had been sold. Every room and key is now gone from Jamal's control. And finally, papers showing the car and the lot he thought was his are now sold too. Jamal's mouth dropped open. "What is all this?" he stuttered. Rachel's voice shook. "Jamal, what? What's happening?" Tamara stood calmly, folding her hands. "Eat up," she said softly. "You can start with the first course of truth." Jamal slammed his fists on the table. "Explain this right now." Keisha grabbed her belly. "Jamal, are you for real? What is all this mess?" Tamara leaned in a little, her voice strong, clear, and steady. "I'm about to explain everything," she said. "First, who I am, who I've always been. I'm the woman who quietly built up your whole life. The woman who celebrated every win like it was mine, too. I got you that job without you knowing. I bought your ride and your property without telling you a thing." Jamal stood up, pointing at Tamara, voice getting louder. "This is crazy. You're just a housewife. How could you do all this behind my back? It doesn't make any sense. Houses, cars, my job. That ain't something somebody like you can pull off." Tamara leaned in, calm and firm. "Jamal, my name is Tamara Anderson. I'm a billionaire. I own businesses, buildings, and investments all over. Everything you've been bragging about, it was me. I stayed low to see who you really were." Jamal froze. You can't. This ain't possible." Tamara's eyes stayed locked on his. "It is. I let you think you were running things to see if loyalty and respect mattered to you when nobody was looking. And yeah, I've always been perfectly healthy. I can have babies. The problem was never me." Jamal's face went white. "No, this can't be real. No, you're lying," he shouted. "I went to the doctor by myself," Tamara continued. "And I held those test results in my own 2 hands. I'm not the problem. Clear's throat you were. And guess what? A little digging around confirmed your boss told the truth you lied about that work trip. You don't even have a job anymore." Jamal jumped up from the chair, panic all over his face. He grabbed his phone. I gotta call somebody. This ain't true." Tamara's eyes followed him, calm and sure. "Call whoever you need to. The truth ain't changing, Jamal. And the house you thought you had power over? Sold. Every single thing is gone. Every bit of control you thought you had is out of your reach." Katja sank in her seat, face drained. "Jamal, this doesn't add up." He turned to her, voice breaking. "Tell me, Keisha. The baby, is it mine?" His voice cracked, filled with panic and hurt. Keisha's lips trembled. She looked at Jamal, then at Tamara, then B turned AK to him. I... Enough, Jamal yelled, standing up and knocking his chair backward. "Don't just sit there saying nothing. Tell me." Keisha swallowed hard and said it straight, no apology. "Jamal, it's not yours. I was only here for the money. That's the only reason I came. I never loved you for real." Jamal's legs gave out. It's not mine." His voice shook, reality hitting him hard. Keisha shook her head. "Nah, I lied to you. I wanted what you had, Jamal, and now you got nothing, so I'm out." She grabbed her suitcases, the same ones she'd wheeled in earlier, and headed straight for the door. Jamal dropped to the floor, covering his face. I was the problem this whole time." Tamara watched quietly, calm and solid, as his whole world finally came crashing down. The front door slammed shut. Silence took over the house. Jamal stayed on his knees, broken, finally seeing the truth he'd ignored for years. His hands covered his face. "Tamara, I'm sorry, Clear his throat, Tamara looked at him steadily. "For 7 years you didn't value me. You blamed me for what was wrong, laughed at what I did for you, and let lies build up a world where you felt like you deserved everything. You made decisions that kept me down. But today you're seeing what happens." Jamal shook, tears running down his face. I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry. Tamara turned toward the doorway. There's nothing left to say. I'm leaving. You're stuck with the truth now. No job, nothing in your hands, and finally humbled. Maybe one day you'll understand what it means to take somebody for granted. And make sure you pack your stuff and get out of this house. The new people are moving in tomorrow. She walked out, leaving Jamal on his knees on the floor, shattered. If this story touched you, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next story. Later on, he would go to the doctor and finally face the truth he'd been running from for years. He was the problem. Every mess-up, every insult, every time he blamed somebody else, it all came back to him. Meanwhile, Tamara started over fresh. She ran her businesses successfully, doing well in the world she'd been quietly preparing for herself all along. She had finally served up the truth, and it was something nobody was gonna forget. Jamal, left with nothing, had to face his mistakes every single day. Shame, regret, and the weight of his ego became what he carried around. He had lost everything, not because of bad luck, but because of the woman he'd underestimated for 7 years. When you have someone loyal in your corner, treasure them. Respect goes both ways, and the person you look down on today might be the one holding you up. Never underestimate the quiet ones. They see everything, and when they move smart. Thank you for watching this story. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real stories. Now we want to hear from you. If you were in Tamara's shoes, what would you have done? And while you're at it, tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We want to see all the places this story reaches.